What's up everybody, TubeElephant here, and today I'm going to look at what makes a game great, what makes an MMORPG great. And let's start by looking at music, the sound. The sound is crucial to getting a game right. Repetitive sounds are almost as bad as repetitive animations, and few things annoy me more than having the same sound or music effect loop through my headphones, and especially if you're going to be playing the game for many years. Sound should serve as a nice backdrop to the game and an intensifier to the action, and while at rest or in a non-action situation, the music should be relatively soft and suited to the environment. And sound effects from buffs, spells, special moves and so on should be noticeable but not strident, or so off the wall that they drown out the rest of the game. Music really is a key aspect of an MMORPG. And then moving on, we have the graphics. What's really important about the graphics is that they age well. If you look at games like World of Warcraft, really old MMOs, they have cartoony graphics, and the reason they have these graphics is because they age really well. Even now you can't say those graphics are bad. And if you look at newer games that are going to be released this year, Guild Wars 2 for example, they are going with an artsy art style, and that's because they want the game to still look good many years in the future. So graphics are really important, and if you look at graphics you can think about animations as well. We've had our fill of chunky running animations, and the sheer feeling of wrongness that poor animations give is enough to pull me out of any immersion the game had going. How many times can we stand to watch the same spellcasting animation? Or are there really only two ways to swing a sword? And why should good animations be reserved for special moves? Why can't I have different casting animations for many of my spells? Variety in animation is really important if you want the game to stay fun, if you don't want the game to get old quick. Then we have the story, and it is called an MMORPG, so there is an RPG element in there. And a lot of people play the game just because they want to know the story, they want to get involved. And the way old MMOs did this is by heaps and heaps of text and paragraphs of text, and people just don't want to read anymore. They want to see what's going on, they want to get involved. Look at games like Star Wars The Old Republic. They actually made this happen. They got a great story and they made people get involved in the story by having loads of cutscenes. So that is really a key aspect as well. Now, another thing an MMO needs is variety. You are going to be playing this game for hundreds of hours, so you don't want to get bored quick. So the usual things are PvE, you have PvP, but you also need side activities, and this could go from fishing and cooking to jumping puzzles or mini games. Just things to expand the game and keep people playing. And there really is no drawback of this system. Well, nothing aside from the fact that some people just don't like to fish, or some people just don't like jumping puzzles. But the more options you have, the more people will be satisfied. Then there's the gameplay, and if you don't get this right, it'll break the game. And when I say gameplay, I am talking about the combat. There are two types of combat. There is static combat, such as World of Warcraft, where you just stand still and cast your spells. And then you have active combat, and that's what Guild Wars 2 is trying to do. They are trying to make it active, so you have to dodge out of the way. You can move when you're casting your spells. But the thing that's really important about the combat system is that it's challenging and it's fun. And of course it needs to be polished, because this is a core feature of the game. Then something else it needs, and this is something the developers can't do much about. It needs a good community. Meeting new and interesting people is why a lot of people play the game. They play the game to talk to people and to get an interaction going, and even like the most tedious things in a game become less tedious if you can do them with friends. Think of grinding or doing the same piece of content over and over again. If you can talk with friends and if you can do it together, it becomes way less tedious. So that's a really key aspect as well. And then we have innovation. And this is something that I really look forward in a game, especially the new games, because I'm tired of the same old, and I think a lot of people agree with me. So I want something new. I want something that is I want something that's changed the genre. And for MMORPGs, it's really hard to compete if they just do the same thing as every other MMORPG. They need to bring something new. If you look at games like Rift, they introduced something new. They have these really expansive talent trees, they have the rifts. SWTOR has the story. And Guild Wars 2 is trying to get that active combat, the dynamic events, the cosmetic gear, the endgame is changed. There's no more endgame grind or no more raids. And I'm really looking forward to this, and I'm really hoping that they bring it all together in a nice package and it is going to work. And all of the things I mentioned are just part of a whole. They each contribute to the feel of the game, and if any one is not up to par, then the rest lose some of their luster. And what is a top-notch combat system if the fighting sounds seem like they were taken from a pocket football game, for example? Or how immersive is a detailed environment if the object models and textures are painful to look at? And it needs to fit together, and if we put this all together, it should create something called immersion. And this is the most important aspect of an MMORPG. Just the feeling you get that you're part of a living, breathing world and that you have an impact on the world. You can make choices that change the world, and your choices have an impact. In my opinion, immersion is the key when it comes to an MMORPG. They can have a great combat system and they can have great story, but if the graphics suck and the music sucks, you're not going to feel like you're a part of the world. So it needs to all come together to create this immersion, and that is when I truly feel like, okay, this is an MMO worthy of the name MMO, if everything comes together and if everything works right. So for a game to do it right, they need many things. They need good music, they need good graphics, fluent animations, and lots of animations. They need a nice story, they need enough variety to keep people interested in the game. The gameplay and the combat should be good, and they should bring some kind of innovation, so just to keep people, just to get people to want to play the game, and not give them the feeling like they're just playing the same game they've been playing for all this time. And I've played a lot of MMORPGs, and I can say, from my point of view, no game has gotten it all down yet. I just hope that Guild Wars 2 is really the game that gets a lot of these things right, and I'm really looking forward to it. Anyway, that's it for this video. Let me know what you think, if you agree with me, or what is your favorite aspect of the game, what makes it great for you. Leave me a comment. Also, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Anyway guys, I'll see you in the next video. Peace.